Oh, I think on the weekend's game, because you take each game in isolation. We did our review today, and we just felt that our tackle numbers were probably okay, but we were unable to force turnovers on the tackle, and that was the thing that really disappointed us. To have 70, I think it was 76, 77 tackles around that sort of figure, but for us not to win the ball back from those tackles was disappointing for us. And even though at quarter time the stats were sort of showing that we were in the game, the scoreboard was telling us that when we didn't have the footy, the Hawks were able to move the ball far too easily and far too quickly. So as each game the next 2 or 3 weeks occurs against the top 4, top 5 teams, we've got to make sure that our tackling is more effective, that is winning the ball back. And we don't want to see as many easy goals coughed up on the weekend, and we'll get judged on next week on how we play.
How badly do you need that one of these scalps in the next 3 weeks to actually make you a realistic chance of getting the finals?
Oh, well, we need to play well every week, and we missed an opportunity on the weekend to play better, and we have to contribute and win. Win some quarters and win some of the the contested possession on the weekend was 115, 150 or something. So you're not going to win any game if your numbers are that low. So we've got to make sure we get back in the game and win those fundamentals. And if we can, we're a chance in every game we play.
Dean Cameron on the radio yesterday said that Melbourne could match GWS's offer for Tom, but are you concerned that paying over the odds for one player could jeopardise other players' contracts if you had a big amount of money?
Oh, look, I think what the club's done is, one, been able to draft a young list. 2, we've been able to manage our TPP particularly well. And, we've got to make sure that our even spread amongst all our players is fair and reasonable, so we get the best list going forward. And we think Tom's part of that list. So, I'm sure that if we wanted to, we could, but we've got to make sure that our list is what we want going forward. We want to retain all of our players who are necessary in the coming future. Tom is one of them. We just got to make sure we manage it as well as we can, so that we have the best chance of being successful. So nothing's changed from that point of view.
How's the PCL affected J Mars, not just his fitness but his form since he's come back? Is it an interruption for him?
I think he's certainly over it, if you like. Ruckman, when you do have that PCL, it does play in your mind a little bit. But Rush has been very good at training during the week in the last 2 weeks with his jumping, and he's certainly been more competitive with his jump on the weekend. But it probably sits there. But when he did do it, he rucked particularly well in the Adelaide game. So it's there. Most players go into games with something of whether it's a small niggle injury or whatever. But no, he needs to improve and get back to his best form. But we expect him to be contributing better this week than he did last week. So at least he's moving forward and moving north at the right rate.
And with he and Martin, is that one area where you might actually have an advantage against Geelong?
Oh, I think in every game you play, stoppages are really important, because one enables you to get the ball moving forward, and 2, you want to put pressure on the opposition backs, and you want to give the forwards a first look out of stoppage. So it's going to be really important this weekend. It was an area on the weekend we thought that we probably let ourselves down in, and we need to get better at that. So no, they're both in good form. Martin's certainly in good form, and we expect Rush's form to gradually get better as it is.
You've got a big challenge this week, Dean. Some say that the biggest test, one of the biggest tests in footy going down to Geelong. How can you possibly beat them? What are you going to do this week to prepare for them?
Well, you've got to actually win. And again, I'm going to almost repeat myself again, but from what we learned from the weekend is contested possession is a really important aspect. Tackles are really important, and stoppages and clearances are really important. So we've got to match them in that area. And we think we need to improve on last week. And whoever you play, they're the things we've got to get better at, and they're the things when we don't go well, they're the thing that we let ourselves in. So we play well in those areas. Every game you play, every chance to win.
At what point do you say after a performance on the weekend against the top 4 side that's just not good enough, even against the best sides?
Sorry, say that again.
At what point do you say to your group that's just not good enough? I mean, you've played against. You're talking about what you've got to do against the top 4 sides.
Yeah.
You've had another big loss on the weekend. I mean, where do you sort of draw the line?
Oh, we're not happy with the performance on the weekend. If you're suggesting we are, that is completely wrong. No, we're disappointed with how we went. We're disappointed with the start. And the number of times we turned the ball over in unpressured situations was not good enough. And we've gone through the review, and we clearly stated that the performance we put forward was certainly below what we expect, and we need to lift in those areas. I mean, to accept what we've done on the weekend, we don't accept that at all. And it's up to the coaches, up to the playing group to really gel for this weekend's challenge down at Skill, and we need to perform much better. Absolutely.
If you coach on next year, would you look at bolstering your footy department, like sort of Carlton style, in terms of getting some experience in? Is that something you look at doing to sort of help this young list? If you stayed on as senior coach next year, would you look at perhaps doing that, similar to what Brett Ratton's done?
Oh, look, we'll wait for that at the end of the year. With the, I mean, my future's in the hands of the board, but maybe we could get Cadel Evans in. He might be able to give us some experience in the, what he's learned from the Tour de France, and those life experiences are really important. Maybe he might be able to help us with the cycling aspect, and the advantages of what he's done. Yeah, it's a good story, isn't it?
Do you have to win one of these games against the top 4 teams, sort of maybe just prove a point to yourself, to the team, because it just seems that they can never quite get up against those top 4 teams. Look,
winning games against the top 4 teams would be an expectation anyway. I mean, we expect to go out this weekend and play not only competitive footy, but we want to see us in the game longer to give ourselves a chance to win the game like everything else. You gain confidence from beating teams above you. There's no doubt about that. And we've got an opportunity in the next 3 weeks to do it. And we shouldn't wait till the 3rd week or the 4th week to do it. We had a chance on the weekend, we didn't take it. We got another chance this week to play well, perform well, and win the game. You must go in with that attitude, and you must go in with that approach.
Do you forget finals if you lose this week?
Someone will say mathematically is when it's irrelevant.
I think
on that team, what is the club's realistic goal? Just outside the 5-6 weeks to go, what's a realistic goal at this stage of the season?
To win every game we play in. I mean, nothing changes. I mean, if you want to think about the outcome at the end of the year, well, I'll wait till the end of the year and tell you what's happened. But every week we expect to put our best foot forward, and we aim to win every week we play. And that's why, in the history of the game, how many clubs have won a full season? And have won not only a full season, but won 25 and 24 games to win a premiership. It's hard to do, but you still aim to win every quarter, and you aim to win games. And we must continue to achieve that. We must continue to aim for that.
Is there a position, Dean, that would mean there wouldn't be any changes, do you think, at the end of the year in terms of personnel?
What do you mean?
From a footy department perspective, do you think you'd keep your job if you, for example, made the 8?
Well, my future's in the hands of the board. So it has been from the start of the year. It's been evaluated this year and last year, like all coaches. Every week you get evaluated. So at the end of the year, they've got to make a decision.
Would you consider this season a failure if you don't make it?
I'll consider the season a failure if our players don't get the right experience during the year. Absolutely. Our players need to actually not only play games of footy together, but they've got to win quarters and they've got to win games together.
So in terms of development, like Stephen Martinez is speaking ahead, he's kind of developed. Some of the other players haven't really kind of moved on from last year. So in terms of development, do you still think it's a failure if you don't make the 8? Or
Steph Martin's developed. Yeah. Luke Tapscott, he's developed. Nicholson, do you think he's developed?
Yeah.
Evans, do you think Evans do you think Evans has come along and developed? Jeremy Howe, do you think he's developed? Yeah.
In terms of,
so therefore, what we've done is we've actually players who have come onto the list have developed. They haven't played a lot of games together. Some of those players. I mean, you look at the back line on the weekend. It was Strauss, Nicholson, Tapscott. I think combined they've played 20 games. But people know that. I mean, people who watch the game, Melbourne supporters, Melbourne members, they know that the games that those young blokes have played. And they want them to play well. They want them to play better, and so do we. So we'll continue to put games into them, and so they can gain that experience. But to lean back on that and say, well, that means that you don't play well is completely wrong. It's the wrong message to send young players. You perform well. I mean, the games you get, you value them, and then you'll come out the other side a much better player.
When you say more games, that it's not considered a failure if you win a certain amount of games. What is that point? I mean, you say it's a failure if we don't win more games.
No. What I'm saying is that games into the right players, that's what we expect to achieve. And we want to win games with those players. There's no doubt about that. And at the start of the year, if you've got a fit and healthy list, then you'll find that you're going to be more consistent, isn't it? I mean, that's you look at all the clubs and where they're at, that's exactly where it sits.
Well, where are you at this point with that sort of attitude?
As far as?
Well, getting games into players.
I've just mentioned 6 or 7 that, obviously players that we think are going to be good players for us now, but certainly into the future. Absolutely. Well, I mean, we've still got, I think we've played, 36 or 37 players, I think, at this stage, and I think we've unearthed probably 3 or 4, really good ones, and they're still developing from a games experience, but we still have high expectations in games. We want them to be better than 50-50 players when they go and perform for us.
I think you said yesterday that Scully's a good chance to return. What about Davey and Rowan Bale?
Flash, I'd probably say unlikely this week. Bale's just starting to run. He's done the last 2 weeks he's done some running, so he might be available for Casey this week.